Welcome filmmakers, fans, and friends to Indie Cinema Showcase, your #1 source for filmmaking, conventions, and everything in between. I'm Christina Carmona.
And I'm Nando. Together we'll be bringing you the best and brightest that Florida has to offer with a focus on Central Florida.
In today's episode, we'll be speaking with filmmaker Robin Hofmann, an award-winning writer, director, and producer right here in Central Florida.
We'll also revisit some of our past events and then travel to the Enzion Theater to hang out with Tim Anderson as he lets us know what films to see before we die.
All right, let's get things started. This film is about a student with a disability who stands up to a bully at school. She could never have imagined what would happen next. Now, this movie was created to grant the wish of Grace Harkins through a Make-A-Wish Foundation, whose dream was to become an actress. So, for our Show Us a Short segment, let's watch Special T.
Got it, T.
Z, what was up with Mom this morning? She was acting like I was 5 years old again.
You know how Mom can be, T. She's ridiculously overprotective of you. And you know you'll always be her little itty-bitty baby.
Stop it.
Don't they have special schools for people like that? I mean, come on.
Hey!
What? No, come on, take your time. I'll be waiting right here for you.
Let me handle this, T.
Yeah, T, let him handle this.
You know what is special about me, Cam?
Yeah, I can see it. We can all see it.
T.
I've got this. What is special about me is that despite needing these crutches, I'm a straight A 4.0 student in all honors and some AP classes. I swim faster than most people who have full use of both their legs. And I can speak 3 languages. But what's really special about me is that I have a huge heart and compassion for others, even when they don't deserve it. So, Cam, these crutches are the least special thing about me.
Whatever.
T, that was amazing. You're incredible. I wanted to punch that little smug face of his.
If I wanted to do that, I could have done it myself. Give him the old... But sometimes the hardest ones to love are the ones who need it the most.
Oh, yes, wise one. Can you repeat that in each of the 3 languages you speak? T, get up.
Z, get out.
No, seriously, T, you have to get up.
What is it? Which girl did you trick into liking you this time?
No. Hey. You are blowing up online right now.
What are you talking about?
Yesterday, when you stood up to camp, somebody must have been recording it, and, well, they posted it last night.
A huge heart and compassion for others.
I mean, look at that. It's got thousands of views. People are even hashtagging it Special T.
That's crazy.
Oh, and there's one of your favorite creators.
Yeah.
Do not overnight Edward Burillo.
Justin,
UCCI is now what makes me special.
Justin,
What makes me special?
Justin.
My specialty. Justin, I've called you 4 times What are you got for something? You're special, man. What the heck are you doing? What is this? I'm sorry, everyone, that you're special. What is your specialty? My specialty is my hand. Don't let anyone bully you. Now it's your turn. What is your specialty? Hashtag my specialty.
No way.
That's so
I know
crazy.
how you
made a
feel,
video
but
too.
I could never have the gut to stand up to someone like how you did. I stand with specialty.
Talking about specialty. See, that's how you treat a bully.
I checked my phone and hashtag specialty is blowing up.
I have a huge heart and compassion.
So I was scrolling today and I noticed this hashtag called specialty.
Hey, have you seen that hashtag specialty?
All you need to remember is a simple word, specialty.
Just wanted to take a moment and recognize our girl, Tina.
She is so cool.
Tina is such a girl boss. You guys need to go check her out.
They call her Specialty. She's got a disability and she stood up to her bully. Kudos to her, I'm cheering her on.
Because that's fire how you did it. I could have never done that.
I just came across the hashtag specialty video, and I am blown away by that girl's bravery. Spreading the word about anti-bullying is incredible.
We all have differences, but that's what makes us awesome.
Have you seen Specialty? She's amazing, so be nice.
If you haven't seen it already, I'll post a link down below. Go check it out.
Why don't you guys drop your thoughts about it in the comments below?
My specialty is making beautiful ball gown dresses, and I want to know yours.
For me, I feel like what makes me special is ceramics. What about you? If you want to post a video, use hashtag specialty.
This is what I love about our generation. We're not afraid to stick up for ourselves. And you, Specialty, you are amazing.
Specialty rocks. She's like an inspiration to every single girl around the world. I mean, snaps for that.
I'm V Spear for TikTok's Under the Desk News. A beautiful story of strength and resilience is circulating online, and it's all thanks to a local Orlando high school student. She was caught on film standing up to a bully who dared to criticize her forearm crutches, claiming they were the only thing that made her special. The video has now made its way around social media, and the viral hashtag specialty is trending, with millions of teenagers cheering on the young trailblazer. Well, T, all of us here at Under the Desk News think you're pretty special too. That's all for now. Have a great day.
Hey,
What do you want, Cam?
I made this.
Is that for me?
Yeah. Hey, would you wanna maybe hang out sometime or something?
Cam, I have a big heart, but I have an even bigger brain.
You are pretty special, T.
Prior to getting into film, Robin earned her degree in psychology and spent 27 years working with individuals with disability. Her film journey began with an online baking show focusing on gluten-free recipes and spreading awareness on disabilities. Shortly after, she began interviewing ordinary people with extraordinary stories on her talk show, Chat With Me. These experiences brought her to the art of filmmaking, where she began writing, producing, and directing independent films. So for today's Industry Insight, we're speaking with Robin Hofmann.
Hey guys, in the studio today we have writer, director, and producer Robin Hofmann. Robin, thank you so much for being here today. I mean, we are like smiles on our face because what you didn't see is all this wonderful energy that you've brought into our studio today. So, number one, thank you for that.
Yeah, I needed to wake up, so.
Yeah. So, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, how much time you got?
We got plenty of
Oh,
time.
plenty of time. Awesome. Okay, so I was born, my name is Robin Hofmann, as we said, and I do write, direct, and produce. Often people ask me, which one's your favorite? And I'll say, that's like asking me which one's my favorite child.
I can tell you
But
exactly which one it is.
Exactly, but I do have a favorite. I do have one of those. So yeah, if I had to choose, which I don't because I get to do them all, directing is probably my favorite. But I think that that's because of my experience, which we'll talk about in psychology. And I've raised 5 kids and multiple more. All of their friends used to live at our house, basically.
Yeah.
So I think directing, it gives me a chance to tap into all of those things, meet people where they're at, and run the circus and do, all of those beautiful things. So.
That's wonderful.
Now, psychology. Tell us, so that's a big dynamic going from psychology to filmmaking. How did that come about?
It's a fantastic story. I'm so glad you asked.
It's we were prepared for this.
It was
right?
almost like you were prepared for this. I spent 27 years working in the field of psychology. So I got my degree in psychology back in, and a few years ago. And I continued on for my education, and I became a certified behavior analyst. And I started working with kids with disabilities for a really long time. And I loved it. So I did it for many years. Most people don't have that type of longevity. Usually in that field, people last 5, 10, maybe 15 years. But 27 years, baby, and I loved every second of it. And I always say it, and it's very, very true, that I learned more from them than they could have ever learned from me. And that just, it's a true story. But I was working at Full Sail with students with disabilities there for 5 years, and I've always had a passion for writing and for the creative arts, and it just reignited all of that excitement in me. But jump back a few years, I was diagnosed with celiac disease, which means I have to stay far from gluten. And I had created tons of recipes, gluten-free recipes that were very, very tasty and inexpensive, because you can purchase things out there, but they're very pricey.
Yeah.
So I thought, how can I teach people how to do this for themselves and not waste money, not waste time, and get these really great meals and baking things out of it? So I decided to do a baking show. I was like, I can teach them. But I couldn't walk away from disabilities, so I decided that I would bring in a guest with a disability each episode. So while we were teaching this gluten-free recipe, we would discuss their diagnosis, their challenges, their successes, and people can just see how capable and functional and awesome these people are. And it was great. We did it for a couple of years, and then COVID hit, so it kind of shut everything down.
That completely changed the world.
I mean, it really did. I know, as a psychologist, I mean, you've seen a lot, and you've been in it for so long. Where do you find that you find the inspiration for your stories?
Well, there's the answer to that is twofold. One, I have been writing my entire life. I was always that person, no matter where I was, high school, college, any work environment. Hey, Robin, I need to write this letter to so-and-so. Can you write it for me? Or, hey, I need an idea for this. Can you write this for me? So I've always been that person. So, and I've written a few children's books, sidebar, something else I do. But yeah. Oh, let's talk about that. So for me, writing does come fairly easy, but I also say that I don't feel like it's coming from me sometimes. The writing fairies visit me at like 4 in the morning, and they sprinkle their little fairy dust over me, and I wake up with this idea, and I'll go to my computer and
I tell Nando that's how it happens, and he thinks I'm crazy. And we've had some writers come on and say that.
The same thing, right?
It's weird how that happens.
It's amazing.
Look, and
I just say thank you.
It's a thing.
And
it's a real thing.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So it just kind of comes to you then.
It does.
Wonderful.
Very
wonderful.
fortunate.
Now, you said that you wrote and directed your first film. What year was that in?
That was 2020.
That was 2020. So what do you have going on now?
Listen, what don't I have going on now? No, I just wrapped a project. Here we go again. You ready? Get your tissues ready. I was contacted by Make-A-Wish a few months ago. Are you ready?
It's happening.
It's happening. And there's a young lady whose wish it was to be a lead actress in a film. Oh. So they interviewed me, and this is what I stand for. This is my brand. Let me do this. I was like, please. May have come on a little strong because I was really excited. And then I didn't hear from them for like a couple months. And I thought in my heart, I said, As long as this young lady gets what she wants, they must have found maybe a production company that's been around a little longer. And then I get an email one day, hey, can you be on a Zoom at 2 p.m.? And I was like, okay, maybe it's like a second round of interviews. I get on the Zoom and there's all these people and they're like, okay, how are we gonna make this happen? What's going on? And I said, I leaned into my camera, excuse me. And they're like, yeah. I go, does this mean you want me to do this? And they were like, yeah, like, how did you not realize that? And I was like,
because you never said anything.
Like, let the tears flow. Like, you don't ever want anyone to have to make a wish.
No.
Right.
But if they do, for you to be chosen as the one that gets to, yep. So we had, in total, between cast and crew, probably 60 plus people involved in making this wish happen for her. And it was unreal, unreal. She came in, she had done a little theater acting, had never done any film acting, and she owned it. She came in, we were just gonna treat her like a star, but she was one, so it was like, we didn't even have to like fake it. But no, she was amazing. The experience was incredible. At the very end of the shoot, I told my first AD, I said, don't yell, it's a wrap. Let me bring everybody together. We made this huge circle. There were like 18 teens on set because it was based in a school. And I whispered in her ear and I said, all right, this is you. Just yell, it's a wrap, you know? And she goes, it's a wrap, just as proud as can be. And all of the teens in unison started chanting her name. Grace, Grace, Grace. I'm crying, her mom's crying, everybody's crying. These kids are all cheering her. And she lit up the entire school with her smile. It was amazing.
That is beautiful.
My heart just grew 3 sizes. That was really beautiful. Yeah.
I don't even know where to go from here.
I said, like, seriously, I'm not gonna cry. I'm tearing up over here.
Wow.
It was amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really magical. I feel like that. I mean, I don't know. That's not by chance that she would. I don't know what you believe in, but I just think that it had to be you. Considering like that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
I'm sorry. I don't even know where to go from here.
I know.
So what? Okay, so let's go from there. It's like,
so where do you go from here?
Yeah,
no, I'm very, very grateful for that opportunity. Yes, obviously, and I told my husband, if this is all I ever do, if this is the end for me in regards to film, I'm okay with that. It's not, because I was like directing just yesterday, but I really felt that way. I truly felt like I felt about the baking show.
Right.
Like, this is why I'm here. So.
But it shows that you're doing something that you are truly, truly passionate about, and it's kind of like you get the best of both worlds, because you're doing filmmaking, but at the same time you're also helping a lot of people.
And I will never not. It's who I am. It's even every one of my films. There's a message. There's a deep-rooted always learning within those films, and that's what I want to put out in the world.
Right. And now you have a company?
I do.
All right. So what do you do predominantly? What do you offer?
So I offer writing services, producing services, directing services, and I also offer to actors demo reel footage.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll write personal scripts for them, things that whoever they want to portray.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And then we film it so that, because, a lot of times new actors can't prove what they can do, so we need to have a reel to hire you, but we're not going to hire you without a reel.
Yeah, it's like
that catch-22. Yeah.
So I fill in that gap.
Oh, I love that. That's fantastic. Now, man, what do you have? What can you talk about?
What can I talk about?
Yeah, that you have like going on now or in the works in the future?
I'm in the middle of directing a short called Dreamscape, and I do have a couple things coming up next year that I'm not able to talk about, but they are feature films, and I'm actually writing my own feature as well.
Wonderful. That's awesome. Now just to get it there for the actors that watch the show as well, you are writing and producing and directing lots of films. When you have your casting calls, where do you post those?
Oh, that's great. On my company site. So,
nice.
Yeah. Do you want me to say that now, or do you want me to tell at the end?
Yeah.
So you can
for that
find
information, filmmakers and actors, you can go over to
Hoffy's Heart Productions.
I like
HHP.
I like that.
So I'm Hoffy's Heart Productions on Facebook, Hoffy's Heart on Instagram. I'd say Hoffy's Heart on TikTok, but I'm really, really bad at TikTok. I'm learning.
That's a whole other thing.
It is.
TikTok is a whole other thing.
I've tried it, and it makes me feel old. So.
Yeah.
But on that site, if they come to the Facebook page, you'll see one of my films that is near and dear to my heart called Speak. And it's about a teenage girl with a speech impediment who gets made fun of at school. And then through some things that happen, she learns that everybody has something that they're trying to hide. So.
All right. Well, I think I'm gonna have to check that out.
Absolutely. Like,
Yeah.
as a kid, I had a bit of a speech. I still start every once in a while, but I had a speech impediment as growing up. So for me, something like that, yeah, I can completely relate.
You're gonna cry again, aren't you?
I am, yeah.
I love it.
I'm a very tough guy. You know.
I can say that I actually really love the representation too.
Yeah.
I do, because we live in a world and people forget that just because you might look like nothing's wrong doesn't mean that nothing is wrong.
Always walk in with kindness.
100%. I love that. And with that, guys, Robin Hofmann, thank you so much.
Don't tell any of the other guests, but you're my favorite so far. So you guys, we'll edit that out.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you would like to be a guest, have something to promote, or have your film featured on the show, email us at icstv@yahoo.com or visit our website at indiecinemashowcase.com.
Watch past episodes on YouTube, Rumble, Roku, and Apple Plus by searching for Indie Cinema Showcase. And finally, follow us on our socials, Facebook at ICSTV and on Instagram and Twitter at ICSTV Show.
Welcome back. Now it's time for our segment we like to call On Location with ICS. In this episode, we revisit Garden Theater to learn about one of their plays that was held this past summer, On Your Feet.
Hey guys, I am here with Nick Basso, Education Director and Director of On Your Feet. You are such a busy man, so thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me.
Of course.
All right, so let's get right into it. Can you tell us a little bit about your background with the Garden Theater?
Yeah, so I've been Education Director here for about 2 years. I was originally from this area, and then I went to Boston, and I decided to come back to be closer to family. And the Garden Theater had an education opening, so I wanted to take it.
Nice, and now you are the show director. How did you get show director for On Your Feet?
Yeah, so actually I was not the original show director for this project. An artist named Joshin Morales was originally put on, but he was pulled away to the cruise line industry and to Disney, and I was pulled in as a director about midway through the process.
Nice, so you were able to actually witness the process and casting, and as a director and having been there, for shows, what does the casting director look for when you're looking at these auditions? What strikes you as a person right for the role?
Yeah, I think every play or every musical, it's a little bit different. And for this one, when we're portraying real people, you have to be careful of not trying to recreate or creating the person again. So looking at how an actor is able to embody that person, but not try to replicate that person who's real.
Right. And that's very important too, because I think if you get too much into the being like that person, you're always going to sell yourself short almost, right? Because you're not them.
Right.
So I totally understand that. Now, why On Your Feet?
Why On Your Feet? Well, it was chosen for our season as part of our theme of identity. And for me, why On Your Feet? I, as a Cuban American and a grandson of Cuban immigrants, the story of Gloria Estefan really resonates with me as an artist and as a Cuban American.
Very nice. It's deep there. I love that. So why do you think that this story is important to tell?
Because it's really an American story. It's an immigrant story. It's about how do you find your American dream and match the cultures that you come from in the melting pot that is the United States.
Nice. No, I mean, I have to ask, is this amazing music a part of this show?
Of course it's part of this show. Like, you get everything from her 1980s pop stuff to her power ballads, all of it's in this musical.
And what do you think people are gonna learn after they come out of seeing the show?
I think that they will learn that the Estefans are a power couple, and particularly Gloria has worked her whole life to be an artist and a businesswoman, and she's continued to find ways to come out on top.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
For our final segment, we travel to the beautiful Enzion Theater where film sage Tim Anderson lets us know which films we should see before we die. Take it away, Tim.
Hey everybody, so yeah, I'm Tim Anderson, I am programming coordinator here at the beautiful Enzion Theater in Maitland, Florida, and I want to talk to you about movies that you need to see before you die. So this whole season I've been talking a lot about older classic films and sort of ignoring anything really made after about 1970 or so. But the movie I want to talk about today is just under 10 years old, and it's really interesting from an independent filmmaker perspective, because this film was shot kind of completely on the DL and is something that I think as filmmakers you should look at and take this kernel of inspiration from. So the film is from 2013. It is directed by Jonathan Glazer, and it is titled Under the Skin. So Under the Skin is a science fiction film starring Scarlett Johansson. And throughout the movie, she essentially plays an alien who is scouring the Scottish countryside for men who she then takes back to her ship and absorbs. Johansson is driving around in a van and picking up random hitchhiker men on the side of the road to kidnap. But Glazer only cast like 2 people in the film as the hitchhikers. Everyone else that Scarlett Johansson picks up on the side of the road and all the ensuing conversation that they have in the car, which is filmed with this dashboard mounted camera, were real people that she was driving around a village in Scotland in makeup, picking up and inviting into the car, and then talking about their actual lives and then dropping them off later at wherever they needed to get to. So there is a huge segment of this film that is completely improvised, where one of the largest stars in the current Marvel universe was driving around Scotland and picking up random strangers who'd never recognized her and are actually in this movie as the people she is picking up and driving around. Then later on, they would use body doubles and things like that and shoot extremely far away so that you couldn't kind of necessarily tell that the person she's killing off is the actual person she picked up in the film. So why I want you to watch the movie is because, besides being incredibly unique, is that it should inspire you to kind of think outside of the box as you're creating your own content. And I don't necessarily just mean that, you know, doing improvisation is something that you have to do out of your own script, because I know a lot of people are very married to the words that they put down on the page. But I do want you to kind of look at this and sort of think like, with very little money, like, because obviously, you know, you're probably not going to get Scarlett Johansson to be in your film, but it didn't have to be Scarlett Johansson. It's an interesting marketing pitch, but the movie would work in any capacity. And so as you're putting together your projects, I want this movie to inspire you to think about ways you can utilize your environments and the kind of stories that you can tell, and that you can kind of step up your game and exceed your budget, exceed your expectations, and sort of expand the world building of your movies without actually having to drop tons of extra money to do that as well. And also, if you have any interest in sound design, audio engineering, I think this movie probably of the last decade has some of the best sound design that I have ever seen done. And again, as I said before, it's because very little dialogue actually exists inside of the film. So it's definitely a little bit of a left field film, but you guys are current indie filmmakers working today, and I think Glazer's movie is an absolute pinnacle of DIY filmmaking being done right now with the kind of materials that you can use, where putting a lipstick camera on a dashboard and things like that is fantastic. Also, I guess for legal purposes, we should say that after she let everybody out of the car, they did explain to them what was going on, and they did sign releases for all of their footage. And I do believe there were a few people that would not allow them to use the film footage that they did shoot. But the film stuff that is in there will not get you like a cease and desist order from someone's lawyer. So, which you really would like to try to avoid as all possible. So, thank you guys again so much for joining me. I hope you love this movie. I hope you get a chance to see it before you die. Actually, I just don't die, just live forever. And thank you guys so much. And Christina, Nando, back to you.
Well, that's all the time we have for this episode of ICS. We want to thank Robin Hofmann for sitting down with us and Tim Anderson for those great movie suggestions.
We hope you learned something new, saw something that you love, or got inspired to get off the couch and go make a movie of your own. Who knows, it might be good enough for us to screen on the next Indie Cinema Showcase.
Don't forget to follow us on our socials, Facebook at ICS TV, Instagram at ICS TV Show, and on YouTube, Rumble, Roku, and Apple Plus by looking up Indie Cinema Showcase.
And if you want a chance to have your work, event, convention, or film festival featured on ICS, send us an email at icstv@yahoo.com.
Until then, the set is closed, and as they say in the movie business, that's a wrap.
See you next time.